Liars and ex-cons and criminals, oh my, guess what? Trump announced today that Peter Navarro, yes, Peter Navarro, will serve as, quote, senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, end quote, in the Orange Bastards next term. His job will include helping to, quote, successfully advance and communicate the Trump manufacturing, tariff, and trade agendas. Now, this is what the orange asshole wrote in a pair of Truth Social posts, revealing that once again, Trump is heading in the direction where he is most comfortable. Incompetent people, criminal people, lying people, people who have no respect for the U.S. Constitution, and people who suck up to him. Now, during the first Trump term, Navarro was a top trade aide for the Orange Bastard. And this election we're not even 5 months after Navarro's release from prison. He served roughly 4-month sentence in a federal facility for defying a congressional subpoena from the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. He was convicted on 2 counts of contempt of Congress. A few hours after his release back in July, this filthy, lying bastard spoke to the Republican National Convention. If you remember, his wild-eyed, screeching, screaming, Nazi-style oration, right? In today's posts, the Orange Bastard said Navarro, quote, was treated horribly by the deep state or whatever else you want to call it, end quote. Treated horribly because he was issued a lawful subpoena and decided that he, like everybody else associated with Trump, every filthy fucking mobster, gangster, thief, liar, con artist, including his family, every one of them has made a decision that they will not follow the law. Fuck the law. The law to anyone associated even remotely or by blood with Donald Trump is a fucking disrespecter of the law, a criminal, a liar, a cheat, and now they're going to run the country into the fucking ground. Trump also said that Peter is a, quote, tenacious advocate for my 2 sacred rules, Buy American and hire American. Oh, fuck you, Trump. Every single piece of shitty merchandise he's ever tried to foist off on his brain-dead followers has been made in China or Vietnam or, I don't know, Tralfamadore, someplace. And, of course, Peter has been a real defender of Trump's views on trade. Trump has no idea how trade works in a global economy. But Navarro says, tariffs are good and that trade deals backed by what Navarro and Trump call the globalists, which is usually a code word for the Jews, that those trade deals are bad. And one more thing about this filthy asshole, Peter Navarro. After Trump lost the election to Biden in 2020, Navarro made it his business to get out there and spread lies about voter fraud, and he insisted the race had been stolen from Trump. This is Peter Navarro. How many scum bastards now does this make? I mean, Ketchup, Patel, the guy who is going to maybe head the FB fucking I? Are you kidding me? According to his colleagues in the Fox sewer, remember Pete Hegseth was a weekend show anchor or something, co-host, Fox and Friends Weekend. Anyway, according to just a whole clutch of these people, Old Pete drank in ways that concerned his colleagues in the Fox sewer. That's according to 10 current and former Fox employees who spoke with NBC. Now, I don't think I need to say what I'm about to say, but if voices come out of the Fox sewer warning about one of their colleagues, yikes, the son of a bitch must be so far gone in whatever field it is or whatever accusation that they're leveling against him as to render him almost unable to walk straight. So here, 10 former and current employees of Fox have said that Hegseth really likes his booze. Now, 2 of these people said that on more than a dozen occasions during Pete's time as a co-host on that show, he reeked of alcohol right before he went on the air. Now, these same 2 people, plus another, said that during his time there, he appeared on television after they'd heard him talk about being hungover as he was getting ready to go put his ass on the Fox and Weekend Friends set. And having worked in television myself and done theater and a few other things where I have been in face-to-face contact with an audience, I can tell you that even the hint of alcohol on a coworker's breath would be enough to make everybody around that person get a little bit nervous because, these appearances where everybody else on the set or in the play or in the newsroom, whatever, everyone depends on everybody. It's really team effort to get these shows on, even in the Fox sewer, where these sewer dwellers put together their bullshit programs every day. The sewer dwellers have to cooperate with each other. They have to be good sewer dwellers. And Pete apparently was causing them all an awful lot of grief when he would come in hungover, drunk, staggering, what have you. None of these sources, these 10 people with whom NBC News has spoken, could recall an instance when old Pete missed an appearance because he'd been drinking. But if I may, because I've had some experience as an observer, an alcoholic, especially a high-functioning alcoholic, is able to do that. Just because a person is drunk on their ass doesn't necessarily, once that person gets to a point of alcoholism, they learn how to control a certain element when they're under the influence, a certain element of their speech or their behavior. It's not a control that can last endlessly, but to get through a TV show, yeah, it can be done. One of these Fox sewer dwellers said, quote, everyone would be talking about it behind the scenes before we went on the air, end quote. And, that's legit. You know my feelings about these Fox sewer dwellers, but that's a legit concern, where the other members of the crew or the cast are worried that the alcoholic, the drunk, and let me just interrupt myself to say I understand that alcoholism is a disease. I am not denigrating a person who finds herself or himself trapped and snared in alcoholism. It is a mind fuck. And I know a lot of people, if not every person who winds up addicted to this filthy shit, alcohol, would escape if they knew how. Alcoholics Anonymous does not work, in case you're wondering my opinion of that. They have a failure rate of about 91%. They tell people who go into AA that they are addicted and will be addicted forever, and there's nothing they can do except to, let go and let God, whatever the fuck that means, turn everything over to an imaginary, like Harvey, the rabbit, the giant, turn it over to Harvey. Jesus Christ. So I fully recognize that alcoholism or any addiction is a disease. It's a ultimately fatal disease. It destroys the mind, destroys the body, destroys internal organs. It's a real monster. But having said that, it's easy for me to see Pete Hegseth being legally drunk, if somebody would have done, say, a breath analyzer test or a blood test, right, as he was going on the set of the Fox Sewer, they would find that his blood alcohol level was beyond whatever New York City considers to be under the influence. On this past Sunday night, a couple of nights ago, the New Yorker magazine detailed concerns about Pete's drinking at two jobs that he held other than Fox. These were nonprofit veterans groups before he joined Fox. The article said, quote, a previously undisclosed whistleblower report on Hegseth's tenure as the president of Concerned Veterans for America from 2013 to 2016 describes him as being repeatedly drunk while acting in his official capacity, to the point of needing to be carried out of the organization's events, end quote. Now, that doesn't mean that a high-functioning drunk is always going to be carried out of an event, but sometimes it does happen. And according to the New Yorker, a lawyer for Hegseth, this guy Tim Parlatore, popped up out of the bushes and said, quote, we're not going to comment on outlandish claims laundered through the New Yorker by a petty and jealous, disgruntled former associate of Mr. Hegseth's. Get back to us when you try your first attempt at actual journalism, end quote. My, Tim, aren't you? Don't you have just the vicious goddamn mouth? Sounds like me, except you don't use the F word the way I do, you fucking idiot. Get back to us when you try your first attempt at actual journalism. Jesus Christ. Now, this account of Pete's time at the Fox Sewer is based on interviews that NBC conducted with 3 current and 7 former Fox Sewer employees, all of whom asked not to be named, of course, because of fear of retaliation. Yeah, well, that makes sense. 3 current employees at the Fox Sewer said his drinking remained a concern up until the orange bastard announced him as his choice to run the Pentagon. Oh, God, I can't believe I just put that together in a sentence. At that point, old Pete left the Fox Sewer. One of the former employees added this: he's such a charming guy, but he just acted like the rules didn't apply to him, end quote. The rules of appearing on a TV set, going before a camera, doing a live show, those rules. But this is in keeping with Trump and Navarro and Ketchup and all these other people. And Trump Jr., they don't, rules, what rules? When you are either Donald or rape or grabbing women by their genitals, when you are President God, Lord Jesus Christ, Donald Trump, and anyone associated with him, the rules don't apply to you. You can do any fucking thing you want to do. And if you get snagged by a law, well, his Lord and Master, Donald Christ, God, Jesus Trump, will pardon you. Huh? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.